Hi, everybody. David Dilling from Markzware. Today we have a special guest, Ian Sayers. Ian, how are you today?
Hi, David. Good to meet you again.
Did I say your last name correctly?
Sayers. Yep, Ian Sayers.
Sayers. I've known you for years. We'll get into the introduction, but it's great to actually meet you on the Zoom here. So thanks for the time. Ian is a PDFMarkz user, and he's also in the industry involved with a lot of cool stuff. So, Ian, why don't you give us an introduction first about who you are and what you do?
Thanks, David. So my name's Ian Sayers, and I have a fancy title, which is called Customer Engagement and Training Director. And I work for a company which is called Sense Labs. So it's spelled with an X, as you can see here on the t-shirt, but it's like your 5 senses. So it's pronounced Sense Labs. And for Sense Labs, as training director, customer engagement and training director, I get to speak to a lot of end users who are using our products. And our products are a range of tablets, drawing tablets, and also drawing displays. And we also have a super cool gadget, which is called Quick Keys, which is this little key remote, which helps anybody from graphic design, illustration, photography, videography, being a normal artist. It just improves their workflow and allows them to do things a lot better and a lot easier. So I've been working for Sense Labs now for 2 years. And as David says, you and I, David, have known each other from way back when I had a previous company, which was called Giant Training back in the day. We're talking probably 14 years we had Giant Training on the go or thereabouts. And you and I chatted back by email, via LinkedIn, things like that, back in the day for Markzware products. I think it was one of the PDF converters or the InDesign Quark converters way back in the day. And I got hooked on your products so easily and so quickly. So for me, as a trainer, your products make perfect sense. For me as a trainer that talks to people who are designers, that are using PDFs, that are jumping from InDesign to different versions of InDesign, your products should be bundled with the software. Adobe should be doing a deal with you guys. Affinity and Serif should be doing a deal with you guys. And the same as Quark if it's still on the marketplace. These companies should be offering your products out to every designer as an upsell. Because for me, when I first got introduced to your products back when I was running Giant, I was delivering a lot of InDesign courses, a lot of Illustrator courses through our training company. And for me, we had some clients asking us about your products. And I went, I'll go and ask. We'll go and have a look at it. We'll go and see. And I fell totally head over heels in love with what you guys were doing in the day. And I don't get paid for telling people how wonderful it is, but it is just superb programs and applications. Can't say it enough.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, I mean, we've had many different emails and chats over the years. You know, customers ask things, and it's been great. But was that how you first learned about Markzware? Was the conversion tools?
It was, yeah. We actually had a client in the room that came in to us to do training. They are the ones that actually introduced us to Markzware for the conversion tools. Because what they said to me way back in the day was, I have this, I need to convert it to this from different programs. I have heard of Markzware programs. Have you heard of them? And at that stage I went, no, I haven't heard of them. But I'm the type of creative nerd that if somebody says, have you heard of this? This is really good, or I'm getting a lot of good recommendations for it, then I want to learn it. I want to know what it is, because if it helps somebody in their workflow and it speeds them up, then it fits exactly into my ethos, which is all about saving people money or helping them to make money. And if a plugin or a program there which will speed up a workflow or do something easy, then I want to help people promote that and get that into people's hands to make their life easier.
Right. So, okay. And have you heard of FlightCheck before? Did you? Yeah.
Yep. So back in the day when I was running with Giant Training, we had a range of different printers, commercial printers that we work with, where we would train them on some of the pre-press, some of the Illustrator packaging, some of the InDesign where they're converting the PDF and RIPs, and your FlightCheck software came up quite a few times as well. So it wasn't just about the conversion software. It led us into other things. So really, I have to say thanks to you guys, because you guys probably got us X number of training courses on the back of your software programs, not just from people talking to us about your programs, but it also would have led on to further InDesign courses or Illustrator courses based on the back of that.
Right.
So it's wealth of programs. It's not just one.
Yeah, the FlightCheck back there. And that's the beauty of FlightCheck. It's great for trainers because FlightCheck in and of itself is like a training program because it's helping people learn about, what's inside their file, why it's a problem, perhaps, why, what's it all about. So they're learning like, oh, wow, what's this? What is a spot color exactly? And they can learn based off the pre-flight reports, So
your pre-flight reports that's in FlightCheck is phenomenal. And that's not easy for me to say. It really is pretty cool because it allows an end user in English speak, in normal speak, to understand what's in the document. It also allows the pre-press team to know exactly what they've got before they go and rip it, before they go and process it. It's allowing them to break down and see what is in the file and understand what is in the file. And that's what I love about it. It's just so simple. It's so straightforward to use.
Yeah. Now you're using it as well, PDFMarkz. Are you using it on real jobs or just for your internally, or how do you use the program?
So a little bit about me is that I am the customer engagement and training director for Sense Labs. My ex-business partner, so when we had Giant, we split and I then moved into Sense Labs. My ex-business partner still does a lot of work within the industry. So for PDFMarkz, I actually use that on real jobs. It's not just for what we do internally within Sense Labs, although I do use it quite a lot for what we do in Sense Labs. People would send PDF files that they've created in all sorts of programs, and it enables me then to take that apart and reproduce that back into InDesign, which is what my go-to program would be. But I'm also using it on live jobs. So my ex-business partner would come to me and say, hey, I've got this PDF file, and I need to basically take it apart. Someone has sent it to him, one of his design clients has sent it to him, and he needs to take it apart. And your PDFMarkz is superb at just rebuilding a file from a PDF back out into a native file format, such as InDesign. For me personally, in Sense Labs, our teams would work on multiple different programs, and they would save things to PDF so that they can actually have one file format that they can ship around. Obviously, there's a lot of PowerPoint files and presentation files, but what PDFMarkz does for me is it allows me to take some of those report documents, break them up, bring them back into a program that I would use on a day-to-day basis, which is Adobe InDesign, and allows me then to still be creative and get access to the actual raw files and the raw data that's in those files.
Right.
I would use it, I would say, at least 2 to 3 times a week. I would be using your PDFMarkz.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to take basically any type of PDF, PowerPoint, Word, even Canva. We're getting a lot more Canva PDFs in and converts them into InDesign, which is the designer's choice in most cases for a layout tool. So very interesting.
One of the things which recently came up about, and I posted this into one of the forums on LinkedIn, was the Affinity programs. So Affinity and Serif are doing an awful lot of promotion because they can work on the iPad, they can work on the desktops. Education are starting to look at them. My preference will always be going through the Adobe apps, but that's not everybody's preference. So what I've found over the past few weeks and months is that I actually have had some customers coming to me and saying, hey, I have this PDF file that's being produced by Affinity, one of their software programs, and I now want to convert it over to InDesign, or I have it being converted from InDesign and I now want to open it up in something else. So that's why I think the Markzware plugins, the Markzware programs for PDFs works so good. It does exactly what it says in the tin. It converts from one application to another and gives you access to those raw data and raw files.
Right.
It really does help.
Exactly. Yeah, we're definitely seeing more and more Affinity PDFs coming in because although a lot of people are switching to Affinity, and a lot of them might be, so there's a lot of reasons why people might be switching, but the reality remains it's still an InDesign world. So at a certain point, they might need to get their Affinity work over to someone using InDesign or a print-on-demand workflow that requires InDesign file. There's all types of possibilities.
Absolutely. The workflow and the procedures just go from A, B, C, just does exactly that. It goes A, B, C. I have this PDF file. I'm going to use this plugin, this program, and now I've got an InDesign file. And it is just as easy as that. And the interface, when it opens up, allows you to choose what you want to convert from and what you want to convert to. And it just is so simple and easy to use. And that's not just from a trainer perspective. It's just, it works. And that's what I like. Sometimes you get programs where if you open up ZBrush, if you open up some of the Premiere Pro or After Effects, you get a program, when you open it up, the interface itself takes a little bit of time to get comfortable with.
Yeah.
But the PDFMarkz, you open it up, you see exactly what it needs to do. You click the buttons, hit the tick boxes, and you've got a file.
Right.
As easy as that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as PDFMarkz for PDF to InDesign, it's all standalone interfaces with all the versions of InDesign that are out there. We have two other programs, IDMarkz for InDesign files and QXPMarkz for QuarkXPress files. We're converting them to various other programs. So, and we have a bundle of all three called OmniMark. So it's indeed the conversion stuff is quite popular for Markzware.
I actually think that the first time we ever spoke was because we needed the IDQ one for Quark.
Oh yeah,
way back in the day. 14 something years ago back in the day, or whatever
Get content.
Quark was one of those
creative.
packages that people were using quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it was one of those packages that we needed to convert a PDF back into a Quark file, right, from the designer. But over the years, obviously, Adobe and InDesign has taken over. Obviously, I still know some book publishers using Quark, but a lot of the time, and I think they actually, on our recommendation, went and purchased your software back in the day. And purely down to the fact that they needed to convert. It's an easy sale. At the end of the day, they needed to convert from documents and PDF to Quark, and your plugin way back in the day was perfect for them.
Yeah, IDQ, InDesign to Quark. Yeah. Then before that, there was PM to Q, PageMaker to Quark, and that slowly faded out. And then we had a Q to ID, Quark to InDesign. But in that period, a lot of people were still trying to, need to get InDesign to Quark, so they were using both, and then. It's really amazing. And now we're in another, what do you call it? Key point in the timeline where you have other possibilities, Affinity and Canva, and of course, Adobe Express is now out.
But isn't it great to see that you're moving with the times? That your software programming, your developers aren't just saying, well, this is what we do and that's it.
Yeah.
They're looking at the industry. They're looking at what designers are trying to use. They're looking to see how files are being created. And you are literally staying on top of the game. And from what my perspective, I can see, you're staying on top of the game. You're staying at the forefront of being able to convert documents from one format to the other. And you're helping designers, you're helping artists, helping illustrators convert files to make it easier for them. And that to me is what it's all about. It's about a workflow that helps people make their life easy and cuts down all the confusion and all the problems and what I call is pain points, and takes all that away. And it has click, click, click. There you go. Get stuck in.
Well
said, I love.
Well said. That's how we feel, and it's great to hear it from the other side, so to speak. But you're on the AI side. One thing to put designers and creatives at ease. I read this report that some of the industry sectors where AI would actually create more jobs. One of them was creatives and graphic design. It's not going to take just like in the old days. You had special people that would do cutouts of, take away the background, and then it moved offshore, and now it's just one click, and so those people just shift to other functions within the graphic arts tool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are fearful for their jobs for AI and things like that, but if you get ahead of the curve, if you get and embrace the AI technology, because it is here, it literally has landed, and people need to embrace it. As long as we police it properly, as long as we look after the ethics, how AI is being used, so that we're not stealing artwork when it's creating new files, as long as those areas are all catered for and looked after, then I see this as a huge potential and opportunity for people. It makes some designers, I know some designers who are great for page makeup and production that aren't great when it comes to concept and I was going to say design, but when it comes to the creation of artwork from the illustration side, but they're more design and production based. I see them now expanding their portfolio and taking on more of the creation by using some of the AI tools. That doesn't mean to say it's taking away from the guys who did the artwork. It just means the guys creating the artwork can take this new design that the designers come up with and then work on new visuals based on that. So it helps to make the whole sort of ecosystem work a little bit better.
Right. I like to use AI. Just gets new ideas. It's not that it's perfect. It just gives me an idea and I can touch it up. And sometimes it is perfect with certain things. It's like, wow, it just saved me a half hour of time or whatever. It's really neat.
I literally just recorded a whole training video for our quick keys and on Photoshop with generative AI and how you can use our quick keys within SenseLabs for 1 or 2 clicks on the quick keys, and it will batch process actions, and the actions have generative AI in it. So it changes something that maybe that I would have done, because back in the day, I worked in an ad agency, which was called GCAS Advertising here in Belfast. And I've worked freelance for quite a few agencies here. And to do what I did within this training session within less than 30 seconds would have took us probably about a day way back when we were in the ad agency. And with the generative AI, with the actions, with the quick keys, I can push one button on SenseLabs quick keys and it processes everything right through. So it's definitely not something to be frightened of if you look at it in the right way and you embrace it.
So yeah, I mean, I needed yellow tulips in the background. Now I could go out. We're both photographers. We talked about that. Amateur photographers. I can go out and find some tulips, take pictures if it's the right season. But it's going to take me hours, perhaps, with everything said and done. But that AI, some things it doesn't create that well. Like swan, I love swans. It can't create swans very well. But tulips, perfect. So I had perfect tulips in the background. Job done. So
it's better and better. That's what I like about the plugin for the PDFMarkz, because I have seen it developing over the years. And as I said, you guys are always on the top of the curve. You're always sitting thinking, well, what's next? What's next? How can we make this better? Even down to the interface. If you open up the PDFMarkz and how it works, drop a PDF file in here, and then what do you want to do with it? It's so simple and it's so easy. And I've seen such a big development over the years with the plugin and with the program that it just makes sense.
Yeah. Well, 3 questions. Now, first question, I already know the answer, I think. Would you recommend PDFMarkz for anyone needing to convert PDF to InDesign?
Without a 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, everybody on the planet that works and converts documents from one format to another needs this program.
Excellent. Thank you. Like I said, we are converting Canva PDFs to InDesign more and more and more and more. Have you tried Canva? Have you looked at it at all?
So I'm an Adobe Express ambassador, and Adobe Express would be one of Canva's biggest competitors, if you like.
Yeah.
And to me, yep. And to me, everything that's in Canva is in Adobe Express. And for designers who have access to Photoshop and Illustrator, they can put in native Photoshop files and Illustrator files directly into Adobe Express. I've used Canva way back in the day. I haven't used any of the more recent features of it, so I couldn't really comment from that. But certainly from Adobe Express, from how it makes PDF files, I would still generate quite a few PDF files from Adobe Express.
Right. Yeah. Adobe Express, the new version looks very, very interesting. It's got AI in there as well, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's got some of the AI, some of the generative features. It's great for social media, for designers and people who need to make a lot of social media. But it's also great for leaflets, for flyers, for posters. There's quite a lot that you can actually create in it. A lot of people thought when Adobe Express is being made that it was just going to be for social media. There's print templates that are in there. You can share templates. You can share for review with your clients. And you can also make those PDF files, which are print-based ready. And if you can do that, then you can convert those PDF files into other applications and other programs, which is where your plugin comes in. Right. Yep. And if you're a charity, then there's a whole different setup for Adobe Express, in that you can get it free. It's based on different charities and your status and government agencies and things like that. There's a pro version and there's free versions which you can get. And it just means that everybody can see and be a little bit more creative. You pick the clothes that you wear, you pick the color schemes. You're a designer, I'm a designer. Everybody in the world has design built into them. And what Adobe Express and your plugins are doing is allowing people from Adobe Express or Canva is to be creative and build using templates that are there from designers and from creatives.
Right.
But then what your plugin allows people to do is to take those designs that have been put together by non-designers and allows them to be converted over to different applications that traditional designers who have done their time within art college, within design school, that have better understanding of typography or of color, that they can take those designs that have been generated from Canva and Adobe Express and then actually tweak them or change them and make them more professional if need be.
Yeah.
Express and Canva can create some very good professional designs, but giving it into the hands of a designer always just dots the I's and crosses the T's and gives a slightly different slant on it, especially when it comes down to typography as well.
Yeah, exactly what we're seeing. Getting a lot of people converting these PDFs into InDesign exactly for this reason. They're starting out in Canva or Express. They get a pretty good idea what they want. It looks pretty good, but it's not perfect. And then the designer takes it further and and for
to me, that's what your plugins are made for that switch between. So I had a lot of clients that were charities, and they would have used Canva or Adobe Express, and they're doing that exact thing. They're building it in Canva or Adobe Express, and they're sending those PDFs over so that someone else can then work on them.
Right. And you have charity discounts as well, just to be, like, I think it's like 40% off. So we're not in like Adobe to give it away, but we do give good discounts for charities.
Yeah, well, say Canva has a free version, it has a paid for plan.
Yeah. Express
has similar. And then whether your education or your charity licenses, there's always different ways and means in which to look at the cost. I think even if you didn't give the 40% discount, I would say your plugin is 100% worth it and will pay for itself within 2 or 3 jobs easily.
Well,
just to allow people to convert that across.
Yeah.
I've tried opening up. So before we actually started working with you guys and started embracing your plugins fully, at the very first couple of times that people were saying about your plugins, I would have went, oh, well, you can open up a PDF in Illustrator, and then from Illustrator, you can extract everything out. And I have to put my hand up, David, and actually say, yes, I did try that. And then I realized very quickly how hard and how painful that was, because it doesn't break down the entire PDF file properly. And then it's a lot of saving out individual files and artwork and images, and then copy and pasting things or selecting and copying to notepads and then getting it back in InDesign. And it didn't actually save me any time. So to me, the price of your plugins pay for themselves after using the plugins on 2 or 3 jobs easily, just down to workflow savings.
Right, exactly. Well said. Yeah. Ian, thank you so much for the time. The last question is, where can people get more information on you and your companies?
senselabs.com. You can get all the information from there. You can link out to our social media. For me personally, I'm out there as Serif. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the social media. I'm happy people to reach out to me if they have any queries or questions about how I use your plugins, or even if they have any general queries about Adobe software or SenseLabs products. And as to say, SenseLabs have a range of drawing tablets and displays that's on the market. And we have this little guy, which is called Quick Keys, which is a workflow in a box. And I'm going to be doing a webinar on this on the 30th, which I'll send you over some links and details, David. I believe if anyone's interested, join in. I'd be more than happy for you to join in and see what we can do and how we can help speed up people's workflows.
Excellent. Ian, thank you so very much for the time and sharing your feedback and expertise.
Thanks, David. Thanks, folks, for listening.
All right, take care.
Get approved. Get content. Be creative. Markzware.com